Hi, Mark. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let's see. Turn this way. Hi, Mark. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay, I think you can because I just heard it come through my phone. I got my monitoring phone here so I can see who chimes in. Okay, I think you can because I just cool. Heard it come through my phone. I got my monitoring phone here so I can see who chimes in. It's funny, it's a delay. First ever time doing the live. Trying to figure out exactly how to do it. So I'm going to turn this down now that I know it's working. And I guess I can, I'll edit this if I really care to. But as you know, if you've been tuning in and watching anything that I do, I don't really do much editing. It's all, yeah, thanks for that, Mark. Yeah, it's all authentic and raw and live. And I just wanted to just kind of come out here. I'm at Las Colinas. It's a beautiful day. I mean, it's probably 60-ish, but it feels like 72. Probably get up to 75 by the end of the day. I've got my my mic set up here, so hopefully the audio is coming through good, which I think it is. I'm gonna tilt the camera down just a little bit. I guess you wouldn't know. This is the first time of me doing it. So, yeah, I'm at Las Colinas Golf Club in Queen Creek, Arizona. So, out here in Arizona, where I love to spend the winter time, I just did a video lesson with one of my students. I'll basically live FaceTime video lessons, and I just did one with one of my students in New York in a simulator. She was hitting in a simulator, and I was just basically using FaceTime as I do, as we all do. And I was able to kind of coach her, give her swing information, record it, upload it to an unlisted YouTube so that she can watch it and just kind of work through all the movement patterns and things. And I figure all I need is my eyes and my brain and my knowledge. And that's what you guys are paying for or getting for free. Is just a tremendous amount of knowledge. Calculated all of my learning experiences between my time on traveling around the world playing in different tours and all my formal education. I've racked up about $400,000 worth of expenses in this coaching business, of which I get to share with you, so you don't have to pay all that. Got a few more people chiming in, it looks like. Okay, so you're in Las Vegas, which is cool. Yeah, so basically what I wanted to do today, the last video that I posted was of me basically saying, hey, I'm in Southern California. I'm at Saboba Springs, and I'm doing the Champions Tour qualifying school. And so that was the day before round one. And I'll just pull up. I got the PGA Tour app, which was cool. It was awesome. I mean, I've played a few PGA Tour events, so it's cool to just see your name, pop up on the actual app. But what I wanted to do is just kind of share with you some of my feedback and my thoughts. I thank you, first of all, by the way, to everybody that texted me, messaged me, emailed me saying, hey, we're rooting for you. Or like, it's funny, I shot 1 under in round 1. And then I got a bunch of people messaging me. That's loud. That's a train going by. Perfect. It's live, so whatever. Hopefully this microphone is doing good. I guess give me a yes, it's fine, or or just wait till the train goes by if you're tuning in. So I was prepared, as I always am, and I go out there and I shoot 1 under, and a bunch of people message me and they're like, dude, you're crushing it, go for it, we're rooting for you. And then you shoot 6 over the next day and nobody messages you. It's almost like, I mean, if you're like my wife, you're like, oh no, I jinxed him, or I'm the reason why he went out and shot 6 over the next day. And I'm just here to tell you, you don't have that much power. It's not on you, trust me. I love the support, and I've had to learn that, to be honest. I wanted always to be able to share what I was doing and have support and be able to acknowledge that and high five people in the crowd. And it's hard, it's hard. Like I've played a couple Waste Management Phoenix Opens, and you got to be on your game and focused. And there's times where it was a good buddy or somebody standing right there, just a couple feet away from me, and I'm walking by and I don't even see him. And it's not because I don't want to say hi, it's just because I'm so intently focused on trying to do one of the hardest things you could ever imagine doing, right? So getting back to Q School, you know, I, I actually, in round one, I'll pull up my scores on the app. On round one, I shot 1 under. And to be honest, I was pretty pissed off at the end of that round. Um, I made a bogey on my last hole. It was good because on the app they actually had the scores. If you look at my scores on PGAtour.com or the PGA Tour app, you'll actually see that they put them in the proper order, which isn't always the case. So sometimes I'll have people say, "Oh, like my dad. Hi, Dad, if you're watching. I'm sure you will be at some point." He usually is like, "Oh, we would have been great if you didn't double bogey your last hole." And I'm like, Dad, I didn't finish on the 18th hole. That was my 9th hole, and then I flipped around. But anyway, um, it shows here correctly that I started on hole 10, and I came through. I made a bogey and a birdie on my front 9, and then I was trucking right along and made a couple birdies. Birdie on what would have been my 16th hole. I hit a driver and a 5 iron into a par 5, and my pitch mark was about 10 feet from the pin, and my putt was about 13 feet for eagle. The greens out there were so soft, and most of them tilted back to front. So anyway, I say that because I'm going to explain how some of the shots that I had. I was unable to get up and down on the 9th green, which cost me a bogey, which put me to 1 under. So I actually left the round, generally feeling pretty pissed off that I had bogeyed my last hole in this case, and went to the range. And the reason why I went to the range was because a lot of the shots I had been hitting weren't coming off that solid. I was amped up. I recognized, and I do this always now, is I try to figure out at what point do I level out with my emotions and my energy, because you're pumped up, you're hyped up, and it took about 5 or 6 holes for all that to kind of dissipate. I can tell you that the very first time I played the Waste Management Phoenix Open, I played Thursday and Friday, and I never came down from that buzz. So I was just always like nervous and anxious and buzzing the whole time. And it's interesting. The more tournaments I play, the quicker that happens. You're always going to be amped up and buzzed, feeling that energy, nervous energy on the first hole. And then my goal is to just have that leave my body as soon as possible. I know that when I played the Shriners last year, basically a year ago in October, I was amped up and nervous, but I was only nervous for like 2 or 3 holes, and then that was it, and I was good to go. So that's kind of a litmus test to me as to how I'm feeling. And at this Champions Tour Q School, it took about 6 holes for me to kind of settle down. In that process, my striking was a little bit messy. I was just figuring out that the way the course was set up, you would hit a sand wedge in 2 feet from the pin, and then it would suck back 30 feet, and then you'd have a 30-footer, coming up. Or, what happened a few times, you'd hit the green and it would spin off the green 20, 30 feet back. Now you're chipping and putting from some like dormant Bermuda, or some kind of messy grass around the greens. So we had these nice bent grass greens, but they were so soft that I kept spinning the ball back constantly. But I go out, I shoot 1 under round one. Thanks for all of those. And again, If you're just tuning in, you didn't jinx me for my second round. So we go into the next day and start out on hole number 1. And if you're looking at my scorecard like I am, I started with a double. So I hit a beautiful drive, and I only had 115 yards into the pin. The pin is kind of tucked in the back left corner of the green. At 115 yards, I was just in the first cutter rough, but there's no part of me that says aim away from the pin, especially based on the fact that I felt like the golf course was playing so easy in my mind. It was an easy course to play. So I flew it straight at the pin. It bounced over the green and went in the worst lie you could imagine. I had a downhill chip shot. I barely got it on the green. I left myself maybe 15 feet, but it was downhill. In my brain, I'm thinking, no worries. I'm just going to roll it in, make that putt, and save my par and move on. Well, I run it by, and then I got a nice lip out on the way back. So I start out with a double bogey, and I go par, and then I bogey my next hole. And that was dumb too because I crushed my drive on my third hole. Um, and I'm all the way down there in the middle of the fairway, and I've got, you know, I don't know, maybe 160 yards I think in, and knock it on the green, and then three putt. So I go basically three putt, then I come through that front 9 and make 2 more birdies, a birdie, a par 3, which is tricky par 3. So I'm at 1 over. So I'm thinking, okay, fine, let's get this thing going. In my brain, I'm thinking I'm currently, if you include my 1 over from the first 9, I'm currently at even par. So I'm like, it's like I haven't even teed off. And in my head, the top 16 were going to make it through to the final stage. After day 1, I think I was in 12th place. So in my head, the scores were just going to go 2 under, 3 under, 4 under. So I felt like I needed to get more under par in order to make it through. So I press a little bit on the back 9. On hole 10, I tried to take it right at the pin. It flew over the back of the green, and I didn't get up and down. On 12, the same thing. Flew it over the green, didn't get up and down. 14 is a kind of a long par 3 with water all the way down the right, and you got a big, huge green. So I knock it on that green. I was the only one in my group to hit the green, and then I 3-putted that one. So the 3 3-putts so far in one day, that's just completely abnormal for me. I'm a really, really good putter. In fact, if you look at all of my ShotLink data, I actually rank number 1 in the world for lag putting, right? So I'm able to lag my putts closer to the hole than anybody on record in ShotLink. So here I am now. I've just rattled off 3 bogeys, and then I come around to the 16th hole. It's another long par 3, and I'm swinging full and free, and I've got like 207, I think, to the back right hole location. I'm going to hit a 5-iron in there, and I just flush it, and it goes over the back of the green. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Why am I like hitting the ball so much further? Now I get to 17, and I hit a great drive down there. I had 88 yards to the pin. The pin's on the back edge of the green. And I'm thinking, okay, that's just an easy like 60-degree wedge. Just fly it right to the pin. It'll check, and then it'll spin back, and maybe I'll have 20 feet coming back up the hill. And I don't know if I caught a flyer or if I just crushed it, but I flew it 95 to 98 yards over the back of the green again, dead, and I didn't get up and down. So it's like people will say, well, were you nervous? Were you amped up? Did you have adrenaline? Were you hitting it far for the adrenaline? I'm like, no, this is just shocking. Like, I wanted to do this video several days after the fact because, like they say, hindsight is 20/20. So you got to get behind. You've got to get whatever you're worrying about behind you for a while. I have a policy with my junior golfers and my players that are trying to play professionally or in college, and I say, go play 24 hours after the tournament is done. Let's talk. At least 24 to 48 hours later. Let's not talk on the car ride home. Especially you parents, if you're watching and you're a parent of a junior golfer, do not break down the round immediately after play. It doesn't do me any good as a player, and it definitely didn't do me any good as a junior golfer to try to analyze because my emotions were too close to the actual event. When you're done with a round of golf, I mean, you're all golfers, so you feel disappointed, you feel discouraged, you feel like you left something out on the course. We always feel like we could have done better, right? So if we could have done better, we're thinking about that from an emotional standpoint, and we're wondering like, oh man, you're kind of bummed out. So let it go 24 to 48 hours so that you can remove the emotions from it and then actually go into it, a little bit more scientifically, a little bit more from a 10,000 foot view. So let's see if anybody else is tuning in here and chatting. Yeah, we got a few people watching. Hi everybody. This is automatically apparently going to get uploaded to the public setting of my channel, so I'm sure a lot of other people will tune in. I mean, this is Friday after Thanksgiving, so hopefully everybody's out playing golf and they're not watching me. But I wanted to give a rundown of it because what's interesting as I think through this and I process this, everybody who comments and has something to say, which sometimes it's worth listening to and sometimes it's not. But what I found is everybody who has something to say to help, usually to analyze, whether it's psychoanalyze, statistically analyze, or whatever, everybody looks at it and says, like for example, oh, um, like, are you okay? Were you sick? Because they're looking at me going, there's no way Craig could shoot 6 over par in one round of golf. He must have been sick. He must have been injured. So they're trying to give me a pass on that stuff. Or was it super windy? Or they want to give me excuses like that. Or they'll say something that affects themselves. Like usually they'll say, oh, you must have got a lot of penalty strokes. You must hit the ball in the water or out of bounds. Well, usually what that is that's just a reflection on what you think you might have done in that situation, right? Like if you're asking me or wondering if I got my double bogey on the first hole because I hit it in the water or hit it out of bounds, usually that's because that's how you think you would have gotten a double. But I just ran through what happened. I was playing aggressively and then ended up three putting from an awful spot, and there you go. It's golf, right? Um, just like the eagle putt I had. It was a 13-foot eagle putt, and I missed it. That could have helped me, with 2 strokes. But anyway, when I analyze, I look at a lot of different things. So basically, after that back 9, I shot 41 on that 9. I was 5 over par with 5 bogeys. And I didn't play that 9 bad every time. That's just the way it is. So if I go to my next round, my third round of golf, um, I shot even par. And when I finished that even par round, I finished birdie, 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 and I had a birdie chance on my last hole, which was the 9th hole, and I made par. So I finished strong on that one, and I shot even par, and I was satisfied in the sense that I fought back, right? I was 6 over par in round 2, 5 over par for the tournament at this point. I know that's not going to cut it. I would have loved to have gone out and shot 5 under and erased the bad stuff from the day before, but I'm swinging free. I'm confident. I'm feeling good. My strategy is good. My club selections are good. It is warming up. So what I did figure out from the day before was, as the temperature started to get closer to 80 degrees in that San Jacinto Valley, and I just started striping it. I just honestly just felt like really comfortable. Swing felt amazing. Big turns, fast speeds. I was bombing it. I was out driving most of the people I was playing with. I was out putting most of the people I was playing with. Short game was great. My bunker play was amazing. It's like, how can you say all these positive things and then look at your scorecard and after 3 days still be 5 over par? Well, it's golf, right? It doesn't, like I've told people in messages back to them, I've said things like, I'm disappointed, but I'm by no means discouraged, right? So I'm disappointed that this is a once in a year opportunity. There's only one first stage for me or any of us to get it through to finals of the Champions Tour. I did the regular PGA Tour Q School 3 times and made it all the way to finals on my 3rd time. The first time I did PGA Tour Q School, I didn't make it through there either. And you're like, how is that even possible? They took 11 guys out of 88 to get through first stage of PGA Tour Q School. At this one, it was 16 players made it through out of, I think, 65 or 70 players. I know I'm good enough. I know I can make it. I know I can get through, so I'm not discouraged. I'm just disappointed that I didn't have it that week, right? All right, so let's look at my final round. Yep, so final round, I'm thinking, all right, here we go. Everything's feeling good. You've kind of leveled, and you're going to go out and crush it. You're going to shoot, 600 par, and you're going to finish inside the cut, and you're going to be good to go. So I go out, I have a nice birdie chance on 10, miss it. Birdie chance on 11, miss it. I get to 12, and I've hit my ball purposely this time. 12 is a tricky hole, but I've been hitting drivers. One time I was in it a little bit on the rough on the right, kind of blocked behind a tree. Another time I was in the left bunker, and another time I was right down the middle. So I thought, okay, I'm going to hit 3-wood off the tee, stay short of the bunker. So I hit 3-wood off the tee, right at the bunker, just how I drew it up in my brain. And what did I do? Flushed it, and it rolled right into the bunker. So I was just hitting it so well that sometimes the ball was going a lot further. So I get in the fairway bunker. I then hit my fairway bunker shot. The pin's kind of in the middle of the green. It hits kind of the front, so pretty good shot. Hits the front of the green, spins off down the front. I'm not that far off the front, maybe 1 or 2 paces, and I've got an upslope to a little bit of a raise up to where the pin is on a level, and then it kind of tips away after that. And I don't know, I hit it too hard, basically. I kind of ramped it up there, and I ran it, I don't know, 10 feet by and then missed that. So I started out with a double bogey. So in my brain, I'm going, okay, this is not how it's supposed to happen. You're supposed to be getting under par. But I kind of kept it together and just continued to play solid golf. And I had, what is that, 6 more pars, right? So 6 straight pars to kind of finish that 9 holes. I come out, make the turn, and make a birdie right away. Follow that up with, what was that? Was that a 3-putt bogey? Yeah, a 3-putt bogey, which again, not what I do. And then I come through the back 9, and I make a birdie on my 16th hole, and I finish with a birdie on my last hole and shoot even par. So I have rounds of 71, 1 under, 78, 6 over, 72, 72, and didn't make it. There were 65 to 70 players, and I finished, where am I, 28th out of those players, and it was only 16 that made it through. The golf course itself was set up to, if you're on your game, you can go low. Matthew Goggins shot 14 under par, and it's one of those things. These players at the top of the leaderboard, like Goggin, Gallagher, Turner, Barr, Kennedy. I mean, these guys at the top, they were going to make it through everywhere they went. I mean, Kennedy still has status. He's kept his card on the Japan tour, so keep your eye out for Brad Kennedy. But there's a lot of quality players. This is my first year going, and I went in super confident and knowing that I had the ability to make it, right? To go all the way. And unfortunately, just didn't happen for me. So I digested, I thought about it, thought about all the good things that I did, the things I'm motivated from. My driving distance was great. I was hitting it, like I said, past pretty much everybody that I was playing with, maybe with the exception of one person. Um, I was flagging it and then spinning it back off the green. So if anything, I probably wished I had the Chrome Tour low spin ball instead of the Chrome Tour X that had a lot of spin on it. But I hit the flag stick on my 9th hole in round 3, and I flagged it several times. And one of the guys in my group was like, "Wow, you're so good. I want to get a lesson from you afterwards." Another guy said, "You're like the best bunker player I've ever seen. I need to get a lesson from you afterwards." And although these things are great and they help, give me more confidence, I'm still bummed, right? I'm still disappointed that I did not make it through this level. But then I'm reminded, Stephen Alker, either didn't try or he didn't make it through this level. And now he's, I don't know how many tour wins he's got on the Champions Tour. He's won the Schwab Cup a couple times, and maybe he's won 7 to 9 or 19. I don't know, remember what the number is, but it's plenty. And when I had my Korn Ferry card, I played against Stephen Alker a couple times. Scott Perel's out there. I played with him. He had to go back to, he's going back to finals this coming week. My college teammate, Tim O'Neill, had a great year and made it to the Schwab Cup finals. My other buddy, Rob Labritz, he didn't keep his card, so now he's got to go back to the Q School finals. So Jason Caron, another friend who I've been playing against in the Met section, had an amazing year and maybe less than 10 events, won enough money to make it to the Schwab Cup finals. I saw both Tim and Jason at Phoenix Country Club. I went and watched on Saturday, and I wanted to feel inspired and motivated. And you know, everything about what I can take away from my first stage experience is that I should be motivated. I should be confident. The problem is you just get one chance to do it. So I'm going to try the other track. Definitely going to be coaching a lot. So if you need lessons, hit me up. The video lessons are actually working out great. You can just pay for the lessons through my sabergolf.com website. And the video lessons are amazing. If you've got a place to hit, whether it's outdoors, and all you need is a tripod like I have this camera set up on, and your headphones, whatever you use, and we can communicate directly. I can see everything I need to see. If I need to see down the line, I can move. You can move the tripod. If I want to see face on, you can change the angle, and I can look at different angles. Just like in a regular lesson, that hour kind of flies by. Happy to help anybody just do that during, you know, with FaceTime lessons. It's great. Whether it's indoor simulator setup or outdoors, if you happen to be outdoors. So I'll be doing that through the winter. I've got Port St. Lucie, Florida. The first Champions Tour event that I can try to Monday qualify for, I think, will be in Naples. They haven't really released any schedule and all that kind of stuff yet, but I'm planning on doing some of those. We have one out here in Arizona, which will be down in Tucson, and then in Southern California, there's a couple, I think. And then the Champions Tour seems to move back and forth, going to Texas, maybe Georgia. You know, my big Club Pro tournament that I have left is the National Club Pro Championship, which is in Port St. Lucie in April. So definitely be there. And I'm going to connect up with a longtime friend who I haven't seen in a long time, Dr. Pete. I'm going to help him and his wife out with some golf instruction in Port St. Lucie, and work on my game and kind of get myself dialed in for those tournaments that I have there too. So if you're watching this and you want to connect up at any time here in Arizona or virtually through FaceTime lessons, or even through the Coach Now app, that works out great too. So I can get you set up on that Coach Now app. If you don't have the ability to do it live and you want to submit videos, I'll be able to coach you through that app. It's fantastic as well. Let's see, any questions? I don't know if we got 9 people currently watching. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or questions you want to chime away. Maybe I can pretend like I'm really good at this live thing and answer some questions. Golf is just hard, right? So it's like you go, you try your best, and hopefully the experience that I've walked through with you is relatable, motivational. I'm hoping that I'm inspiring somebody from watching my stuff to just go ahead and, you know, get after it and try your best to keep working, keep refining. The one thing I have learned over the years is it doesn't matter how old you are, you can actually get better. You can always actually, Anton just popped up. How's it going? Got any questions? I'm getting ready to kind of wrap up this thing. Thanks for watching, and this will be on the channel as well for people to watch. And I guess if you like this, let me know. I'm thinking about doing more of these. Thinking about doing more of like a Q&A type thing. So if this works, and maybe if you're watching this later and you missed the live portion of this, type in a little note that just says, hey, yeah, I want to see more of these live sessions, or yes, I'd be interested in doing like a live Q&A where I can be out here on the range or at an indoor golf studio and at night, and answer any questions that you might have about the stuff that you've watched on the channel. But this is actually my first time doing a live, and I figured it was appropriate. Let's see. Uh, when do you bow your wrist in the backswing? Well, well, that's kind of a loaded question. Because if you have a grip that's set up correctly for you, you don't actually need to worry about bowing or cupping, right? So I'll show you something. This is fascinating, right? So let's just say I take what most would look at as a neutral grip, right? And then I go to the top of my swing. Like, see what that looks like? Now, if I separate my hands here, look at this wrist, right? Now that is bowed, right? Now if I bring that back down, look at how my left hand sits on the grip. So if I had an extremely weak grip, like this is more like a John Rahm or a Colin Morikawa, when you look at their grip, you can kind of see a little bit more of the grip through their hands on that hand, but their right hand is still relatively strong. So what happens is as the right hand hinges backwards, it creates that bowing effect. But if you have a relatively strong grip this way, like let's say for example you had a neutral to strong grip, and then you bowed this, or you really work that right hand back, then that's about as much bow as you're going to get, which is pretty neutral, right? So it's really all based on the structure of your grip as to how much bow you actually get. You can watch one of the videos that I've posted. It's a conversation between Colin Morikawa and Dustin Johnson, and basically Colin Morikawa is saying, hey, there's all this talk out there about this bowed lead wrist. Do you think about a bowed lead wrist? And Dustin Johnson's like, huh? What are you talking about? I don't think about any of that stuff. In which case, I went to a top 100 seminar where Dustin Johnson's coach was there, and I asked him specifically, is he thinking about doing this? And the answer is no. If anything, he's thinking more about doing this and doing this, right? So if I take my hand and I extend these muscles to pull that club back here, and then I flex, as you know, I've referred to this as kind of like the main golf muscle. As you flex that muscle, you can see what happens to that wrist. It does what I've termed a scoop release, right, versus a rolling release. Many people are taught to like roll the club open to toe up and then consequently like roll it over. But I've seen way too many pictures, even old school pictures of Johnny Miller and of Jack Nicklaus, and you can kind of see this release. Like there's a great picture of Fred Couples, just like this, on the cover of a golf swing book. Right now, if I was rolling, that's what that would look like, right? There's another you'll see pictures all the time. There was a cool one that popped up of Minwoo Lee, right? Minwoo Lee has a club face that looks like this, right? So you see him get to here, and then you see his club face get to here, right? Well, if I just turn around and show you what that looks like, in order to get that club face in this position, I didn't roll my wrists, right? So I'm not rolling anything. The hands are on there in such a way to allow for that extension, that flexion, to have what I've commonly called a scoop release, which, by the way, the scoop portion of the release happens after impact, right? So I'm not saying, unless you're trying to hit a flop shot, I'm not saying scoop it back here prior to impact. I'm saying go to impact, and then, like on a short shot, I might even stop here. But if I did release, it would be in a scoop manner, definitely not a rollover manner. So let's see, someone popped up a paragraph here. Cool. Thank you for adopting my ideas. One question is why you favor the earliest release of your wrist as opposed to many teachers favor. Yeah, very good question. So, um, it's about intention, right? So, what are you intending on doing? If you're intending on holding the part of the club that is designed to smash the crap out of the ball, if you're holding that backwards, your intention is to not put any energy into the ball. If you're just lagging that and holding that angle, hoping that all this centrifugal force and everything is going to do all the work for you, you're missing out. Is it possible? Yes. Um, One of my instructors back in the day in Australia, out of Indooroopilly, Ian Triggs, he worked with a lot of players, Kari Webb being probably his most notable player. But basically, he kind of had us very noodly and soft in the arms, and then we would kind of get to here really soft, and then we would like spin our body and just create a lot of lag and a lot of whipping. And there is power in that. There's some of that natural power. But if you're not throwing and creating energy, you're missing out. And the one thing that I've seen over the years is as somebody gets ready to think about, lagging, inevitably that club face gets hung wide open. So then what's the next maneuver post lag is the other stuff that all these teachers teach. They're like, well, if you've lagged it to here, you better then bow this wrist down. You better roll it down. Well, why are you adding three things to about a 0.5 second of a downswing? Like, why are you doing that? Why don't you just release the energy in its proper form so that by the time you get back to the ball, the left wrist is pretty straight like this? You don't have to do any twisting or manipulating. So I funnel all of my stuff through two things. One is it going to be harmful or hurtful to your body? If it's harmful or hurtful, it's going to cause wrist injuries, all kinds of tendonitis, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, shoulder issues. I don't want to do that. I want you to be able to protect your body so that you can play as long as you can. The next thing I filter it through is, does it hold up under pressure? Now, the pressure for me playing in a tour event or a Q school might be different than the pressure for you if you're playing in a member guest or just trying to shoot your best round, but it's still pressure. And FYI, if you didn't know this, all the pressure is basically self-imposed. So we impose the pressure and stuff doesn't hold up under pressure. Well, if you've got 6 different swing thoughts going on and some manipulations, it's probably not going to hold up under pressure, right? So I filter it through those two things. Will it hold up under pressure? And is it okay on the body? And doing the bowing, doing the releasing, doing the cupping, doing the manipulating this way just doesn't work. I can tell you that even if you accidentally scoop this a little early, you're going to pick it clean and the ball's going to take off. It's going to go high and straight and pretty far. You might miss the sweet spot just a little bit, but that's why you go buy good golf clubs. Like if you're playing tiny little blades from the 1970s, yeah, you might have to get a lot more forward shaft lean and compress that ball to get energy to transfer. Because, by the way, the 7-iron from the 1970s is actually the same loft as a current day 9-iron or even pitching wedge. So get yourself some good clubs. Go ahead and toss that club a little earlier. That way the club face has the best chance of squaring up. You're not losing the energy because you're actually creating speed with more than likely your dominant arm, right? You hear me talk about players taking that dominant arm, the right arm, and throwing it. I've also got several videos of people being able to take their dominant arm, which is their left arm, and more or less frisbeeing it. Now, the frisbee, by the way, is not like this bowed. It's like this released. So the frisbee, if I was dangling the frisbee underneath me, and then I flung it this way, that's how you're going to spin the frisbee backwards. Like when we're kids, if you remember taking like a hula hoop and you take it and you fling it and spin it backwards, and then it would come and spin back to your feet, and then you take it and toss it. So that's kind of more or less what you're doing with that lead hand, just like that rock skipping idea. The difference is you're not skipping a rock laterally across the lake. It's more like you're taking that rock and bowling it end over end down the fairway. So hopefully that helps. Long paragraph for long explanation. Um, Glad you're getting it. Mark loves the scoop. Yeah, I mean, what I've found over the years is if I can educate people on how their hands are supposed to work, and we're going to call this the scoop release. Some people call it the hinge release. Some people maybe call it more of a like a slap release. But basically, this is the way the body's supposed to work. These extensor muscles are supposed to hinge backwards. Flexor muscle here is supposed to hinge this way. These muscles are not great, right? It's much better for our arms and our anatomy to do this and then this on the back side. So if you can train your hands to do this, the timing in which you scoop, like, so let's say I come into impact here, that doesn't look like much of a scoop, but I'm hitting the ball, trapping it, and then as I then continue, the hands are educated to at least go in this direction. Most people don't get that, and so that's one of the first things that I teach. That's what a lot of content on my website is, because I work with a lot of people right out of the gate. Sometimes you only see lesson one. You don't see the next half a dozen lessons that somebody takes from me. This is a big piece of that puzzle, trying to get those hands to get educated, taking that stick and swishing it in this manner, not in this manner. It's all about club face control and stability. So if you can at least educate your hands on how to do that, you can putt this way like a Bobby Lock hinging putt. You can chip this way, and then you can take that hand action all the way to driver. So much easier to do. Um, Good. I'm glad. I'm gonna probably wrap up here in just a second, unless you guys have some more questions for me. Um, don't mind doing this at all. I'm just kind of reflecting on my own, Champions Tour Q School, and it's not the end. It's just the beginning. I'll be able to do many, many tournaments, and I feel like you'll see me playing in the hopefully in the regular PGA Championship this year in May, and then definitely into the senior PGA maybe in 2026, because 2025 will be the first year that I can go through the section qualifying and hopefully get through the section, play in the National Senior Club Pro, and then hopefully finish top 30 in the National Senior Club Pro and be in my first senior major. Well, actually, my first senior PGA in 2026. I'm actually hoping to play in my first one or two senior majors this summer, which would be trying to qualify for the senior US Open and maybe the Open, the senior British Open. But we'll see. I mean, um, it only all costs money, right? So the time that I put into coaching helps me pay my bills. I tell you what, if you are a sponsor, or if you're like, hey, I like this Craig guy, he's given me so much value from the lessons, I am not beyond asking for some help, for some sponsorship dollars. If you want to reach out and be like surplussolar.com, there's my advertising plug. If you want to reach out to me, like they did, and say, hey, Craig, we like you and we want to see you continue to pursue your dreams. I can tell you, the additional funding does not hurt. It's hard to compete against full-time playing pros when you're spending your time coaching and helping people. As you can tell, I'm passionate about it. It's what I love to do. I also love to compete, and all the tour pros throughout the years that have been out there on the tour have had different sponsors along the way to support them, so that they can spend all their time practicing instead of, doing like gosh, his name's slipping, Rich Beam, selling cell phones, or like Scott Perrell was a computer programmer guy. There's plenty of stories out there of pros that have had jobs to help pay the bills, but then the sponsors kick in. So, all right, let's see. Still got a few people watching. I don't even know how long this has been going on here. Here we go, 46 minutes. That's probably pretty long. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to do some practice on my own. It's a beautiful day. Um, Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of my journey. Thanks for asking the questions. Thanks for challenging me. I mean, if there's anything that I've learned along the way is that I'm constantly learning, and like I said, I'm going to try to filter all of it through those two things. Does it hold up under pressure, and is it healthy for my body? And if I can do it and I can execute on it, then I can coach it and I can teach it. I've been really privileged to be able to share that with my three sons, and they all have beautiful golf swings. Lots of students along the way that are competing and playing in different professional tours, college students that are in college that have gotten scholarships, and high school students that are working their way toward college golf. So that's just some of the people that I work with, but truly some of my most satisfying times is just working with, that Mr. or Mrs. Smith who love the game. They love getting out. It's their new vocation. They've maybe retired from the game. They love getting out and they just want to do it better. And I'm here to tell you that you can, it doesn't matter what age you are, you can actually play better golf, because golf is such a high skill sport. If you've got the brain and the physical capability to just kind of like have some form of coordination, and by the way, you could be an amputee, you could be in a wheelchair, whatever it is that you have to work with, I can work with you, right? So everything that I can help you with will help you get better. It's just then it's up to you to go out and spend the time working on it. So no more comments, I don't think. One last check. Let's see. One last check on this. Thanks so much. Appreciate you all chiming in. And again, if you've watched all this the way to the end, put a remark in there. Let me know if you want me to do more of these. I'm happy to do that and figure out a way to do it. So thanks so much for watching the channel. We'll see you soon. Now I got to figure out how to turn it off.